Hasn't showed up just yet.
Live. Ready? Yep. Go ahead.
Oh crap, I couldn't ready check. Whoops. Well,
And
you want to do it?
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Do you want to do it or?
You can leave it.
All right. Well, when Scotty gives us the go ahead. Hello. Are you ready? Hello and welcome to UHD versus Marion Blue. I'm joined with the lovely DJ.
How's it going, Scoogus? Excited to be here tonight for this game between the UHD Gators and Marion Varsity Esports.
It's a best of 3 game today as these two duke it out. We're going to get into Champ Select soon. Very exciting. I'm excited to see what both teams are going to bring, what kind of comps. It's going to be an interesting match to say the least.
Absolutely will. A couple of teams at sort of the top of the bracket here. You can see UHD Gators sitting at 8-1 in the division, with Marion sitting at 6-3 here. So should be a pretty competitive match as our two teams get into pick and ban here. And UHD on the blue side here and Marion on the red side.
All right, first band going to come out here. All right, okay. Going to be the Talia and Rangar band. Rangar's a little bit of a weird band here. Not that strong in the jungle. Could be followed up swiftly by Zach band. They are not slowing down, ladies and gentlemen. Cruising through this band phase.
Both teams really know what they want here. May have been scouting the enemy teams, because you can see definitely from the UHD side a pretty heavy focus here on junglers, with that Talia jungle and the Zach jungle being taken away here. Obviously, Talia can be a flex pick to that mid lane, but a double jungler ban followed up by the Renekton. And as you mentioned, pretty weird bans here with the Rengar and Zillion initially for Marion. Pretty niche bans there, but the Ezreal very meta ban as our first pick will come through. That's a blind Shen first pick for UHD.
What is going on here in this Champ Select? I mean, like you said, strong jungler bans coming over here from blue side, but the Rengar ban, the Zillion ban make absolutely no sense. And then into a blind Shen. The only ones I understand over here for red side are the Ezreal ban. We're going to see what they pick into this Shen. It's a bit of a risky decision to first pick this Shen. Let's see what they do with it.
Shen, a very interesting first pick. I mean, very tanky champion, obviously has a lot of utility, but you don't see a lot of Shen, particularly as a blind pick for this very reason. You can pick a lot of things into it. Can be fairly weak to some heavy counter picks, such as a Fiora or other champions that can easily, block his taunt dash on the E there. So definitely interesting to see that blind pick, but may just have a ton of confidence in that champion pick or a strategy potentially for global ultimates here.
Oh, I believe. Hold on. I believe we're not showing pick or ban right now. Okay. Well, next up in the Zed. All right. So top and mid getting picked first is a little bit strange. They're going to lock in the Fiddlesticks probably for the jungle here. Mid lane coming in turn from red side. Ashtesh bot lane. Now, that's a difficult lane to beat right now.
A very strong bot lane there, although HD will have the benefit of being able to pick their whole bot lane into this. I'm sure we will see some bot lane bans. And yep, there is the Caitlyn coming up from Marion, trying to ban away the other sort of bot lane champion that has range comparable to Ashe's in the early game. So should have an advantage there with her auto range and W poke.
Ornn ban. Oh, sorry. The Ornn ban is kind of strange. When you have Shen who's doing the kind of damage Shen does with that, lots of the true damage, it's weird to ban Ornn, but I guess they want to pick it around so the Zed can still pop enemy team members. Target bans are going to come out for the top side here from Blue. It's weird. These teams both haven't kind of shown their hand at what they hope to do with these team comps, so it's going to remain interesting as a Vladimir ban comes out from Blue side.
I think that Vladimir ban makes sense here. Again, a couple things I want to take away from the Shen. I think the Ornn might be keen to get rid of that passive for him. As you can see, Cassiopeia does a ton of damage, but Ashe is does do damage, but more of a supportive AD carry in the later stages of the game, so can get a little bit of a damage buff from that Ornn. Potentially maybe the reasoning there, or they might just not like the fact that Ornn is, as Captain Flowers like to say, wizard, mage, paladin, paladin, tank, bruiser, assassin, warlock in whatever lane he plays. As we see a Kha'Zix jungle here.
Kha'Zix jungle pick. Now he's a little bit on the up and up when it comes to strength for junglers, but he's nowhere near the strongest. I'm surprised they're going with this squishier comp, with Thresh being the only one as of right now who can eat that damage. We see Blue complete their side of picks. Again, I'm seeing an unfocused team composition. Maybe they're going to try to go for these later points in the game. It's really strange. Let's see what Red side finishes out with. Anything to deal with these tanks or these burst champions? They're looking really squishy right now.
Yeah, definitely interesting here to see what they round out with. It looks like a Wukong.
Yeah, going to want to beef up that team fighting potential most likely here. They've got a good stack of ultimates. Cassiopeia, Thresh, Wukong, made for when the enemy clumps up, destroying them way easier. I'm seeing Blue side here have more of a confident team fighting kind of pick and more global pressure with the Shen ultimate. It's going to be tough here to get that Kai'Sa through the early game, though. Kai'Sa's really weak right now, and Ashe and Thresh are a strong combo. Let's see if Swain can play defensively enough to keep that Kai'Sa alive.
Yeah, really intrigued. May see a potential Shen support coming out here. I'm not exactly sure. I'd be a little surprised to see it, but as you mentioned, Swain not a defensive pick in the bot lane. Certainly an aggressive support champion if that is what is being played here. And as you mentioned, not something I would expect to see picked, as a counter pick into an Ashe Thresh lane. I would imagine that has a ton of pressure on this bot lane. So definitely intriguing to see that picked up. As you mentioned, kind of a very specific drafts here and some very specific win conditions for each of these teams. Not something we would normally see to expect. So, again, maybe some internal scouting here from both the teams. They might think they have the read on the other one because, as we mentioned, this is not a common draft that we are seeing here.
You're absolutely right. These teams both seem to have not exactly the clearest vision how they're going to work cohesively. Maybe they're looking to counter specific enemy teammates, like you said, with a little bit of scouting. It's strange to see teams without a very certain win condition. I guess they're just hoping that their champions will do well. They'll pick up some early game gold. I think what Blue side can really capitalize on is that global pressure from Shen. That might help to alleviate some of this bot lane pressure because, like you were saying, Swain is not defensive in the slightest when you're taking him in a bot lane with Kai'Sa, who kind of needs that protection. Fiddlesticks jungle, also a little bit of a strange pick for this team. Maybe they wanted something to up that team fighting potential, but I mean, if you stack Fiddlesticks and Swain ult, I can see where that strength comes from, but then followed up by Azed and Kai'Sa, who are really good at popping single target. It's very strange. And then when you look at Red side, it doesn't get any clearer. They have a strong bot side. Mid lane is a bit of a strange pick into the Zed. Kha'Zix jungle is a little bit weak, especially, I don't know if he can actually fight this Fiddlesticks correctly. And with a Shen on the board, picking Kha'Zix is kind of even more strange because he'll lose the isolation bonus as soon as Shen ults. Very strange picks.
I do agree with that, particularly on the Kha'Zix end. I do note from the side of UHD here, I do have a lot of dive. If we look at their four of those 5 champions, definitely can dive turrets very well. Shen, Zed, Fiddlesticks, Kai'Sa all have dash ultimates. of some form to get into position to take out these champions, and maybe a little bit of disengage picked for Marion here. Your Thresh can disengage, Wukong's ultimate can disengage. But as you mentioned, that I think there is a team comp there, but that Kha'Zix definitely stands out as sort of a weird one, unless they're really trying to look for picks with an Ashe Kha'Zix sort of combination. But yeah, it does kind of get nullified by any potential Shen ultimates.
Yeah, I'm excited to I'm really looking forward to this bot lane. I think, if they capitalize on the weakness of Kai'Sa, focus their Kha'Zix attention more towards the bot side and let Ashe dominate, they could see Ashe develop into the hyper carry that'll push them through the rest of the game, keeping, Thresh and Wukong healthy enough for the team fights. Well, I think we're about to start loading in here any second, and we'll get to the caster delay. But before then, I have a question to ask you, just a random question. What's your main? Who's your main in this game?
Awkward question. I was maining Jhin. I haven't played him in a while because he's not very strong. So I've been playing a lot of Lucian recently to try to climb. How about yourself?
All right, so you've got the extra ADC insight.
Yes, I am an AD. I'm an AD carry main, or top or support off roll, but definitely an AD carry player. Yeah.
So how do you see this bot lane playing out when we take into the account of jungle pressure? Like, what do you think is going to happen if we just kind of let that run?
I think P6, Ashe and Thresh will be able to do whatever they want. Fiddlesticks is not going to be able to gank them in any meaningful way. The real threat would be from a potential Zed roam, if at all. But again, I think Thresh is pretty strong against a Zed roam. I think Kha'Zix has a little more agency to potentially gank this bottom lane. Again, they don't have a ton of peel. It would revolve around Swain, being skillful with his E to remove this Kha'Zix. So I think you can see a little bit of volatility here from Kha'Zix ganking the bottom lane, but I do not think Fiddlesticks has the agency to gank this bottom lane pre-6. So once 6 comes around, then you can see a lot of things. Then blue side's team comp just completely unlocks. If they get into position, they can dive turrets. They can go pretty much anywhere on the map and make plays, but they do have to kind of stack up their ultimates, I would say, to make that happen. So we'll require some coordination from their side.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Now, I'm interested to see if they're going to have, if blue side is going to have any bot side pressure at all. Because like you were saying, they really are basically giving up any strength they have in the bot lane, and the junglers, Fiddlesticks, just can't really 1v1 Kha'Zix. So I think they're going to have to give up early game dragons or dedicate a lot of their top and mid resources to controlling that bottom side. And I'm curious to see if they just kind of leave Kai'Sa and Swain to farm under tower, focus top side, getting heralds, focusing on getting Zed fed and ahead. We'll see how it plays out. It's could go either way, and I'm actually really excited to see how this goes.
I have to agree with you. I think they're probably looking to definitely give up first Drake. I think the only presence they'll want to have on bot side in the early part of this game is to prevent dives of any sort. Fortunately for them, Cassiopeia not exactly a big-time roamer in the early game. But I think they will maybe potentially need to relieve a little pressure. But like you said, they'll definitely focus top mid, try to potentially stop Rift Herald from going down. I would say at about the second Drake, depending on how the game has gone, they could look to fight. And that could be where we sort of see their comp come online, or they try to take objectives. But yes, definitely on this blue side for UHD, they're going to want to get to 6. They're going to want to get levels, their ultimates up. They're going to get points in their abilities. They're going to get base stats from their levels before they make any moves here.
Yeah. I think both sides are going to be waiting for 6 before they do anything truly substantial.
As we see teams kind of rounding out, seeing the picks put up here in a few seconds, they'll be going into the second round of bans. And now I'm going to try to get your prediction here. This is a tough one for me to look at, Scoos, but what do you think this game is going to happen in this game?
Honestly, I think it's going to be kind of brutal. I see this Ashe Thresh bottom lane working well with this Kha'Zix and thrashing the Kai'Sa and Swain, making it impossible for the Kai'Sa to catch back up and really hit that late game power spike. Cassiopeia also beats out Zed level once they hit 6. So we're seeing a lot of losing lanes here. The saving grace for blue would have to be the Shen. It has to be Shen, ult, and Shen global pressure, but that has a high cooldown. I'm going to see some red domination, most likely. Red winning a lot of the Drakes, and then pushing out to the rest of the game, probably pushing through bot and mid to get to the win condition. They could even leave top side alone. Maybe get some vision on Herald if they really want to contest it, but they might not need to. My prediction is this is going to go entirely to red side.
Bold prediction there of a stomp for Marion here in this game 1 of our best of 3 series.
You never know. You never know.
You do never know. Absolutely true. And if they are able to get this guys to the late game, always the possibility for that to pop off. But we will see here as we have just about 25 seconds before our spectator delay here. So we have our prediction from Skugas. I will not make a prediction for this game, and we will catch you on the, mostly because I actually have no idea what's going to happen, because these are, I'm actually very intrigued to see how these drafts play out for our teams here tonight, but we will catch you on the other side of our spectator delay.
Hello and welcome back to the first of 3 UHD versus Marion Blue here, folks. And we've
got a disconnect already.
I guess they could feel the fear in the air. Somebody's Samsung smart fridge just isn't playing today. All right. So, looking how things ended up shaking out here with position-wise, we were correct in calling who's going where. They didn't try to switch it up and make anything funky on us. Now, I don't know if you saw this, but the Thresh did have 200,000 mastery points, and I don't believe in mastery points, but that's a big number. And in league, numbers are everything.
This is a big number. I'm with you, Scoogus. I too do not believe in mastery. I have seen far too many 500,000 mastery Yasuos that still don't understand how to grow their abilities to believe in any of that. But these guys are all diamonds, so I will believe it to some degree. Although, given that they're mostly diamond, I also believe they could have Smurfs. So I'm going to question everything and say that they're all good at all of these champions.
Fiddlesticks is literally called Andrew Smurf 2. Not only is this not his first Smurf, this is his second. So I expect to see some heat here from Andrew. Starting
Andrew
red
is believed to be a reliable narrator.
So we're looking at Fiddle starting on red side, most likely to get that blue buff while he's ganking. Stacking in this bush here in the river. Hoping maybe to get a pick.
I do have a bit of an invade here coming from the side of Marion. We'll get a sweeper down onto this red buff, and it looks like they will be able to take it away here.
Did not expect that one, but I guess a little pressure, that's all it took to get him to bounce off. You know, they have to, like I was saying, obey the fact that Kaisa and Swain cannot contest that Ashe and Thresh at the moment.
I really can't, and thing to notice here, maybe a little uncomfortable with this start. Normally, Fiddlesticks can start the sort of double buff, start 2 camps at once with that Bountiful Harvest ability on the W, and now you can see him on these 2 camps at the same time, but didn't start with the Wolves and blue buffs, so maybe a little uncomfortable with starting on that side. So definitely using some of their early pressure here from this bot lane to throw off the UHD team a little bit.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be behind here as Kha'Zix goes to secure the fact that there will be no red buff for Fiddlesticks today as he takes both Fiddles and his. A lot of times in lower elo, you'll see junglers make the mistake of not going back to get the buff they just stole. Glad to see Kha'Zix on the top of his game here and Fiddlesticks out high and dry.
Normal early movements here from most of the lanes. We'll see what the pathing is from the junglers, but I expect them to do pretty standard clears here. Again, Fiddlesticks really not wanting to do anything too crazy before his ultimate's up. This Kha'Zix will have a little bit more agency, but not a ton.
I'm surprised at the pressure we're seeing in bot lane where, Thresh and Ashe are pushed up to tower. Did not expect that. Here's a gank coming through. Oh, it's going to be clear. First blood going to Zed. We did not predict that. And then another kill onto the Kaisa. This is insane. This is the last thing we predicted before the game. I am flabbergasted. Do you have any words for this defense?
I mean, just kind of mistakes, I would say. As we mentioned, Swain, not a defensive support, is an aggressive support. I think he just lands an E there in the bot lane, and it's just sort of a classic. Oh, here's another one. She's actually in trouble. I think she's going to go down. Get her. She's got a pop, potion popped.
I am flabbergasted right now at what I'm seeing here. That's going to be Zed coming back with a lethality item so early on in the game. That has got to be painful here. Man. UHD turning up the heat here with these unpredictable picks.
Absolutely, and I think as we mentioned, just kind of a mistake. It has to be said from Runeweaver on the Cassio. There's really no way you should be dying in this lane to a Zed and a Fiddlesticks at level 3-4. Just probably stepped up too far. Maybe let the wave get in a bad spot there, but just should not be dying to that gank. And lost the flash as well. So
I have to commend UHD here for knowing that, the only time they have to get at this Cassiopeia is pre-6. They took advantage of it with an early gank textbook right around the side. I think you're absolutely right, though. It's blunder after blunder here for Marion Blue. So they're really going to have to play safer, play smarter, and sadly lose some bot side pressure. This might echo into them losing first dragon.
It very well could, depending on the pathing and depending on, you know, when first dragon is contested. I'd say if they do move over to dragon around level 6, then yeah, I think they probably will lose a lot of pressure once that Fiddlesticks has his ultimate up. You would hope the Cossacks would be on that dragon, you know, level 4 to 5 with a little bit of pressure, so that it's sort of a guaranteed Drake. But I think Solo Boss just sort of solo adding the pressure here to the lane. You can see the Thresh playing very respectfully. Really not common for a Thresh in the bot lane, as we see Kha'Zix up here on a ward, getting spotted out. So well done there by Ducky. But yeah, normally Thresh is a lot more aggressive, liking to stand sort of in the middle or top brush to pressure these lanes with his hook. But they're level 4 to level 3 here.
Hold on, he's walking right into the Kha'Zix. Oh, he's going to make Kha'Zix tuck his tail between his legs and back off. You know, oh my, this lane is on his A game today, as we see a fight break down in the mid lane, and it pops.
Yeah, that's level 6 on the Zed. I think Cassio's level 5.
Oh, this is got to be
verify.
Cassiopeia, I think she is sitting.
Oh, it might have just ticked her over to 6. She did use her ultimate there, so just
this is it. This is them giving up their first dragon.
This is really going bad for Marion in this early game. I mean, this is, as you mentioned, this is fairly catastrophic. They're down 2k gold already. They've lost the first dragon when they really should have had the pressure to get that first dragon. Scaling mid laner has died twice now to a melee champion and a snowball-y melee champion, obviously. And looked like she was 6 when she died there, and unfortunately not going to have the benefit of a replay here to see. Maybe she just missed the ultimate. But it did look like that ability went down and just wasn't able to capitalize on it.
It's a botched ultimate, and that always is going to sting when you die to a botched ult. The pressure is on in this bot lane. It is intense. They are not giving them any room to breathe. The Thresh kind of needs to, he likes to maneuver around the wave to land his hooks. No such thing. They have to play fully passive. This is the strong lead they needed in these mid and bot lanes where they knew they didn't have the strength. It's great prioritization, and that first dragon will make the Zed ult on a shorter cooldown, the Shen ult on a shorter cooldown. It's really going to help their team.
And I hear on bot side, the Shen might find, or Zed might find the jungler here. There's 4 people moving down towards this turret.
Oh,
finds the uptime with a hook, and there's the flame. Oh, Fiddlesticks ulting in here over the wall. A ton of damage down, and they just burst submissive instantly.
Like a hit. They have Miriam up against a wall right now. They have to be careful about roaming in these positions. I think they need to double up on their wards. They need to increase their vision. Cassiopeia overextended in the mid lane, 3 collapsing on her right now. She manages to make it safely back to town.
Should be okay with that Fiddlesticks ultimate down. Her ult is back up, so it does have the safety of that ultimate. But yeah, just a ton of pressure racking up here, and submissive, he's level 5. He's not in a position he can be in there to contest. I mean, that Fiddlesticks comes over the wall and he just gets popped by, I believe, a combination of the ultimate and Zed hitting his Q. And this Zed 3-0-0 has the Umbral Glaive, cooldown boots, Ionian Boots, Lucidity. And he is pretty terrifying right now, as nobody has really the armor to deal with him at this stage of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're going to be at the back foot when trying to fight this Zed. You never want to be facing a fed Zed. It makes your backline pop. And with them being relatively squishy at this point in the game, like we were talking about earlier, they only really have 1 tank in the Thresh Kong.
Kha'Zix is trying to take this Rift Herald. I don't know if he has time to do this.
That is a risky play, with Zed being able to reset the wave and Fiddlesticks so close by, but they have no vision. They could get away with a nice cheeky Rift Herald steal to increase their gold.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's pretty nicely done by Submissive. You'd think, with that Zed resetting, it can clear the wave very quickly in Rome. Hold on, we got a Gage here in top lane. Octodragon's really low, and he just gets taken out by Ducky. Doesn't even get the second proc of his ult off there, as the passive health, passive autos on that Shen Q, taking away the percentage health damage, just chunks Octodragon out there, and he goes down and solo kill poor Ducky.
That was classically played Shen right there. Beautifully maneuvered, and Wukong barely stood a chance in that fight. It's really hard to be Miriam Blue right now and know what is the right play. I think if they focus maybe on their bot and top sides, kind of forego the fact that their mid laner is too far behind to really do anything. Oh, but still, it's a rough position. What do you think they could do to try to bring this back?
There's an engage here on top side. Poor Octa Dragon. That's just cruel.
They're toying with him now.
Oh boy, look at the Zed damage. She's gonna go back in and she just dies instantly. A nice roam there from Solar to Boss. Catches Runeweaver with the W. That slows enough AJ Uptown to land both of the Qs, one on his Shadow as well. And he just pops back to a Shadow, autos her down. Doesn't even need to use his ultimate there. I mean, UHD is just all over the map here. Like, the supports in. Now there's an engage on bot lane. It's 3v2, but here comes the Shen ultimate. Solo to Boss in his ult. He's super tanky. He's lasting forever. THL, the Destroyer, forced to flash out, and now there's a chase on to hide on Bush Light. Should be able to get out with those Ashe passive slows, but UHD is just bullying them around the map here. I mean, that was just vindictive from Andrew Smurf, too, just waiting in top lane for Optodragon to come back and taking him out again and trying to get a play down there on bot lane. Lucky for Marion, I think, to get out of there with no casualties, as that was about to turn into a 3v3, and they are so far behind on items and gold.
What we're doing is we're seeing UHD rotate better. We're seeing them communicate a little bit more. They're knowing where to allocate pressure right on these pressure points that Miriam Blue just isn't focusing on. Wukong up here is going to grab some plating, try to close that gold gap that is now 5K in favor of UHD. That's going to be another dragon also falling to UHD. A great dragon for them to have. Ocean Drake is very strong.
And in mid lane again, the Cassio forced to flash out. Will not quite connect the damage. Actually pretty well played there from Runeweaver as AJ Uptown going in with the ult, but dodges all of the shurikens and the Swain W. Swain's going to flash in with the E here under the second turret. They're going to get him, and he's going to get out. Polo de Boss is kind of smurfing on this game. Ton of pressure from him in the early game. Really, really strong now, and goes in under the second turret to take down Runeweaver for the 4th time.
Yeah, this is painful. Absolutely painful of your Miriam Blue right now. UHD has denied every time they've tried to gank. There's been some kind of counter resistance in a different part of the map. A great way to reallocate their pressure. They haven't dropped an objective yet, aside from that initial Rift Herald, which they dropped top just to get 1 tower. Man, that 4K gold lead is probably starting to hurt really bad, especially with how much gold is currently onto the Zed. That Zed is creating an even more widening gap in power.
And one positive thing to note for Marion, as they went in under that second tier turret to get Runeweaver on that Cassiopeia, it did drop the Rift Herald top, so they were able to take that tier 1 top turret. And I believe get a charge on the second tier turret.
Oh my, immediately deleted it. Far too much damage. I mean, you have to wonder what's going through Miriam Blue's head right now. They're trying their best, obviously, but their vision is lacking and getting cleared out very quickly. The pressure is on to their weaker lanes. Ooh, it's rough. It is really rough. What is your take on this, DJ?
You want to know what's going through their head? FF15 go next. That's what's going through their head right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's the one hope that you do have is if you are able to stabilize some of these, tier 1 turrets go down and it becomes harder and harder for these teams to farm, for UHG to pressure. They can farm a little safer. If they can get this Cassio to a place where she's strong enough, there is still that late game hope, but that is so far away. Runeweaver sitting on 0-5, 97 CS with only a lost chapter and a tier 2 his name, and that just seems absolutely forever away. And you imagine they're going to keep stacking these dragons going for souls, so definitely something that is, you give it like 2% chance at this point, but there is still that potential late game hope if you are able to get Runeweaver to that point.
I mean, especially when you consider the soul here, Infernal Soul is a very strong soul to have, known to end games with its strength. And I'm going to have to disagree with you here. I don't see the Cassiopeia becoming relevant again. I think every time she shows up or tries to step up to fight, they're going to shut her right down. And they clearly have put the pressure on so hard she can't even AFK farm under tower. Fiddlesticks ulting and Zed deleting her like we saw earlier. This is absolutely brutal and painful to watch. It's strange to think that Mirian Blue hasn't taken more losses in the bot side, considering how much Swain has been flexing his muscles. But absolute mid dominance from Zed.
Yeah, mid dominance. I think Solo DeBoss has been spreading some of the pressure from bot lane to that mid lane. You see Zed going in here on submissive with the ult, but submissive times it pretty well there. Oh my god, the proc on that ultimate does so much damage. He didn't hit him with, I think he hit him with only an E, and it still did 3/4 of his health bar there.
You hate to see it, ladies and gentlemen. It's the roaming. The roaming is sublime from UHD. They're exactly where they need to be, when they need to be there.
Going in here, Andrew Smurf too, sorry to interrupt. On to Octadragon, trying to ult his way out here. Gonna have to flash the wall. Will just barely survive. Oh my goodness.
It's sublime gameplay. Sublime over here from UHD.
Weaver just popped like an absolute balloon there by AJ Uptown, and I didn't disagree with you necessarily when you said it was going to be hard for Runeweaver to get back into this game. It wasn't a chance. We're going to reduce it to 1 as AJ Uptown now in the bot lane, his ult back up to Shen coming in. God Destroyer going to go down really quickly and hide on Bush Light. Gets absolutely one-shot by AJ Uptown there. Just absolutely dominating this game on this end. 7-0-2. 2 lethality items. Oh my!
If I was Marion, I would want to skip next. I would not want to be a part of this game any longer. The deficits grow wider. 7K gold difference in favor of UHD on top of the objective control. They're slowly deleting all the towers they had left and the last flicker of hope, I imagine. Like you were saying earlier, they're not going to let this Cassiopeia back into the game. She is pretty much gone for good, only serving to absorb the little bit of Zed damage she can take before popping. Wukong also just slowly becoming irrelevant. I'd say maybe their best shot is getting some kills and bounties onto the Ashe and protecting her extremely well in team fights, but even then, that's a pipe dream.
It is pretty much a pipe dream at this point. 7K gold lead. It's 13-0 in kills. Oh my goodness. AJ Uptown just killing everyone he sees. Absolutely merciless, even onto the support there. Why the support? The poor support. What did he do to deserve this?
Let's be honest. We're seeing some Uptown funk right now from the Zed. In these plays, the Qs have landed almost every time. He's fantastic at getting in and getting out, playing to Zed's strengths here. You know, you see UHD actually never engages in a prolonged fight. I think they kind of understand that. I mean, they can now, but earlier they really couldn't manage something where they clumped up and dedicated hard to a fight. They're going for these small skirmishes where they dominate with either numbers or using a ton of Zed's damage. It's really smart, actually, coming from UHD here.
They played a pretty immaculate game. It's only going to get worse. I mean, this would be headed for a perfect game if not for that one sneaky Rift Herald taken by Submissive, which took the top lane tier 1 turret. Otherwise, they would be headed for a perfect game here. A nice dodge away here. May have a fight here in top lane as Submissive throws his E in, but decides just to back away here as Ducky's just too tanky. Solo DeBoss showing up too. Came around on vision.
Ooh.
Submissive decides not.
That was they really needed that. I mean, another death would be extremely demoralizing and painful right now as they push up to try to take this top tower. You know, you see UHD kind of taking every outer tower and then moving in a layer, reducing how far Mirian feels safe to roam outside of those tower ranges and into even their own jungle. As you can see, if you check the map real quick, the vision scores just do not add up. Look at UHD's vision. It is dominant. You can see it encroaching into the enemy jungle. It secures their jungle. You can kind of see their line of vision in top side. And then when you look at Miriam's, you see a complete lack of vision. Only a couple wards clumped up into the top side jungle. And look, you can see right now UHD clearing that vision out, reducing how comfortable they feel stepping out. And now they can't contest pretty much any objectives.
Solo de Boss actually forced to flash. They're caught in a little bit of an awkward position behind that Raptor camp wall there. But yeah, as you mentioned, going by the book here, very tutorial style. You're taking down a turret, moving into jungle, clearing and establishing vision, and then moving back towards important points on the map, important objectives. And as Uptown just gets another solo kill onto the unprotected Ash there. That's pretty easy for him at this point, sitting on 10-0-2, 3 completed items. Ash has a board.
You know it's bad when you're not even safe under your own towers anymore.
Flash in here from Runeweaver doesn't quite get the onto Giralam and gonna be...
He overcommits!
That's got the boss. I think that's just a desperation to see if I can get a kill here play, but does not quite catch Miralim with the front end of that Cassio ult.
Do you think anyone on UHD is going to die? I'm sorry to interrupt, but do you think anyone on UHD is going to die? They're playing immaculately. They're engaging fidelity.
Mostly no. Mostly no. They would have to int pretty hard, I think, to die at this point.
UHD poised to end and finish this, grabbing the inhib. They might back off and wait for super minions, but I don't really know if they need to with another wave coming up right after the one they get.
Flash in there. So strong. It's just too strong. Here's a flash in. Gets the Shen shield and just, gets burst out by Giralim here. As go on to Andrew Smurf too, and will go under the turret and pick up Runeweaver one more time. 0-8 on the Cassio here, and that will do it. There's absolutely no wave clear here on some miss. They will easily take this turret down and should finish the game.
Did you smell that? Did you smell the desperation on Wukong as he went in to try to make something happen? Try to make some play. And wait, are they backing off?
Yeah, they ran out of minions actually. A little surprising there. Just the towers taking them down, just not quite enough here in this point of the game. I mean, there was no wave clear to help it out. I think the tower just cleared it out. So we'll be forced to wait about a minute.
They had a wave coming up in mid lane. They could have circled to that mid tower, and then another wave coming up that was actually super. But I mean, people are coming back. I can see it's a safe play. Maybe they are trying to get that KD up. Look a little bit flashier with their numbers.
Maybe. I mean, they're all probably out of cooldowns. They're all probably sitting with the 4K gold in their inventories. Zed went just back and almost bought a full item. I believe Kaisa did buy a full item.
It's really rough here. But I mean, that reset might have given Murian some saving grace. They could try and turn this around. I think if they played it, if they turned their focus to 100% and played really safely, maybe they could make something happen. I've seen crazier upsets. Maybe somebody from UHD disconnects. I mean, who knows? I mean, you're going to need something like that, a miracle to save this game.
And as Infernal Soul goes down, I think 2 people on UHD would need to disconnect for you to have a chance, potentially. They're going to walk straight over to this Baron, and they should take it uncontested, I think. They may look for kills here, but I think if they start it, it's pretty much uncontested. They have the inhib down in the bot lane, which is the farthest away from Baron, and it is early. Super minions are hard to clear, and I think any 5v5 team fight will be an absolute wash.
I mean, this is... Overkill is the name of the game for UHD. Off of that soul, they could have easily went and ended, but they're going to get the Baron to secure the win, make it look even better for their adoring fans. Oh, it's inevitable at this point. Game 1 UHD. I'm going to say it now.
Yeah, I think that's a fairly safe one to say. You said you've seen crazier comebacks. I really don't know if I have. Maybe once. This is a 13K gold lead here at 23 minutes. Only getting bigger as they take down this second inhibitor in the mid lane here. Slowly move in as this bot wave arrives. So now wave in mid lane, wave in bot lane. Come in towards this last Nexus turret, and Runeweaver takes a ton of damage there. Throws out the shield as AJ Uptown goes in, and AJ Uptown will go down as the entire team gets on top of him as he's taken out by the Cassio ult.
I cannot believe what I'm seeing here.
But
an actual death from UHD, and looks like Ash is going to report him for feeding. Game 1 to UHD, an absolute wash, if I can't say so myself.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up from start to finish. You know, we were talking about this bot lane for Marion having pressure, and as you can see, that never came to light. And with absolutely no pressure in their bot lane and their mid being solo killed essentially over and over again after dying once to a gank at level 4. It's just a pure snowball. And as you can see, never got even close to getting back in this match. Just one kill there as Runeweaver finally in that last team fight, landing a Cassio onto AJ Uptown as he went in with his ultimate. But that is all they can take from that game. That and one top tier turret. Just those two things away from a perfect game there for UHD.
Yeah, very painful to see. We saw, UHD capitalize on what they could do early game and snowballed that into a dominant lead. We saw, perfect roaming, amazing vision, great control of their jungle, as well as controlling the enemy's jungle. That invade early really threw that Fiddlesticks off, we thought, but then ended up not mattering at all, with Fiddlesticks easily recovering, ganking mid lane, getting those early leads. Whew, UHD playing sublimely.
Absolutely. That will wrap up game 1 here. We will see if Marion can get back on the horse in the second game of this best of 3 series between the two teams if we come back from this break.
Woo, got a
And welcome back here to Game 2 of our Illinois A League of Legends series here tonight between Marion Esports and UHD Gators. Marion on blue side for this game and UHD on the red side as we see picks and bans coming through here. And there is the Z ban. Didn't want AJ Uptown didn't want it banned. It gets banned anyway. And after that performance, I can't really blame Marion for banning that one away, Skoogus.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, don't know why they kept the Rengar ban. I thought they would ban like the Swain or something more instrumental to the reasons why UHD won last game. I understand the Zed and Fiddlesticks bans because they were very instrumental into their winning also, but I don't know. They're leaving open the bot lane, which they could immediately pick here in UHD and get away with it too.
And it looks like Zillion actually slipping through the bans here from UHD. It was banned away last game and it's first picked here for Marion. And as we see a first rotation coming out from UHD of Graves and LeBlanc here to answer that. So pretty nice blind picks there, both in the jungle and mid position.
You know, I actually think a Graves first pick is a little risky, just in my opinion, because if you pick correctly and pick a champion that counters Graves, he becomes kind of useless. You know, so they're rolling the dice here, but you can easily get away with it because it looks like they're going to prioritize the Ezreal pick. Ezreal is super strong right now in the bot lane. He did receive some nerfs, but as a high tier Ezreal player once said, those nerfs were only if you're bad.
That sounds about right. I mean, the nerfs mostly on the cooldown to his E, that dash ability of his. So if you can play that one correctly, really no nerf to the damage portion of Ezreal's kit. Just a little bit of survivability as we see the Renekton come in here to round out Marion's first portion of picks and bans here. We'll see what UHD decides to answer with.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what UHD brings out for this second match. It looks like they're hovering a Caitlyn. It looks like more of a squishier approach. You know, they don't really have the reliability and ultimates. There's the Aphelios pick. Aphelios. I'm going to be honest with you, DJ. I'm terrified of Aphelios because my small monkey brain just really can't understand it.
I love Aphelios. I play this champion as much as I can. I think he is amazing. I think he is busted. I actually read his champion kit when he came out, and I think it's fantastic. You feel great on Aphelios. You have so much versatility than most AD carries. And if you have a defensive support, which I will expect to come out here in round 2 for UHD, you feel great. We do see Rise get banned away from UHD side. Rakan ban here for Marion. I do have to say I like a little bit more of the focus here from Marion side. You can see if this is a Zillion Ezreal bot lane, a lot more focus on the poke here for them, and definitely a little bit more survivability with that Zillion ult available to them.
It looks like they want to correct what happened last game and get started in the top lane. Renekton doing great early game. Always nice to see that. A Yuumi ban. A Yuumi ban.
This won't go through.
Yeah. Okay. It's null. Let's check the chat and see if they meant to do null. It's a Yuumi ban. It is correct that it's a Yuumi ban. I thought you picked Yuumi when you just didn't want to play League of Legends, but I guess they are scared of it.
Yeah, so they're banning the Yuumi away from that normal Ezreal Yuumi bot lane for sure. I do think that's the equivalent of a null ban because after the nerfs in the last patch, Yuumi is pretty much a dead champion to anyone in high elo. So while it may be comfort in that Ezreal Yuumi bot lane, that champion is weak, very weak after the nerfs. And thank you, Ryan, for that one.
Pick slips through the cracks. That's got to be painful. Ornn is impossible to kill, and he's definitely going to slow down the Renekton.
Ornn, just nice, safe, easy blind pick here for HD, so they won't have to deal with. So they will be able to save that counter pick for their support. Really hard to counter pick into Ornn. A very safe, steady champion will provide value in the late game no matter what. To this Aphelios for sure. See the Thresh pick come in here for Marion to pair with the Ezreal.
They see another Thresh pick. Now, Thresh didn't necessarily work out for them last time. They're bringing it back, hopefully with a little more faith and with this Ezreal. This is their last pick. It's most likely going to be their jungler unless they're doing something completely off meta. And I'm curious to see what they bring into this. Probably, I would say they want a nice, beefy, versatile, and strong jungler to play around with Renekton. Excuse me. Looking at more frontline to hopefully absorb the ridiculous amount of damage they're going to be receiving from that LeBlanc. This last pick for UHD, I believe, will be cementing their support. So let's see what they pick. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Interested here to see what they do have. This nice counter pick here will be a Karma. Pokey champion there to pair with the Aphelios. Definitely not quite. Does have the shield, but not quite the defensive pick you usually see. I think maybe hoping they can bully this Ezreal out a little bit. But Ezreal, typically a very safe farmer, can use that Q from range to get minions that would be unavailable to most other champions. So definitely an interesting pick. But after the first game, we would imagine UHD is pretty confident pulling anything out that they would like to try. So we'll see how that pick works out in the bottom lane here. But do have to say a lot more standard drafts this time around. Nice scaling jungler and AD carry here for the side of UHD, paired with that sort of tanky top laner and support, the shield support for Karma, and a little bit more focus from the Marion side here as well. Nice bot lane with the Ezreal Thresh for some protection. You've got good priority on the Renekton in top lane, and Zilean also can push and clear pretty decently with those bombs in the early to mid game, and will have that Zilean ultimate available for Olaf to go in team fights. So do like the composition from the Marion side. Do also like the UHD composition. They do have a little bit of different focuses, but a lot more focused drafts than I think we saw in game one.
Yeah, I feel like Marion has finally realized what the heck they're trying to do with this team comp. You can see the protection from the Zilean offered, like you said, when he's going to go in. It looks like they're going to try to hit him hard early game and then let Ezreal naturally scale. When we look over at UHD, we see them kind of playing around a little bit more. They're a little bit squishier, which if they allow their Ezreal to get out of control, he'll just pop them one after the other. I'm concerned about this LeBlanc because how well Uptown played on Zed. Zed and LeBlanc are kind of similar champions when it comes to a lot of mobility, and he clearly performs well with a lot of mobility. And so it'll be scary to see if that LeBlanc can get us fed as the Zed did last time. Also, let's talk about a ban that I keep seeing and I don't understand. Rengar. I want to ask him, what is up with the Rengar ban? Why Rengar? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, can't really say. Might just be a comfort pick on the side of UHD. Maybe something that Marion has identified as a pick they don't like to play against. But yeah, would probably have to ask the teams. And sometimes that's information we can't get. The secret draft sauce, as they say, sometimes available to these coaches and players as they prepare for these games.
Yeah, and what I really like when it comes from UHD's side is they kind of have champs for every part of the game. You know, they have their late game champs, they have their mid game, they have nice mid game. Their early game is a little bit lacking, but Graves brings strong damage into the jungle. Okay. This just in, Andrew is a one-trick Rengar. So, okay, I understand why. A good Rengar hurts very badly.
All right, there is the information we've been looking for. So that is that targeted ban as we finish out our second round of picks and bans here. All right, Skugas, what do you think is going to happen in this one? And what is your prediction for game 2 of the series between Marion and UHD?
Now, you see, I'm conflicted because I would love nothing more than Marion to come out here and stomp. And I think this game, Marion has a chance to give UHD a substantial run for their money. But for how sublime UHD was playing last game, it's hard to see. You'd have to see a dramatic decrease in gameplay for them to lose this next match, especially with a team as solid as theirs. I mean, if UHD wanted to, they could play safe and just wait for Aphelios and Ornn to scale out to the late game.
You heard it from Skugas here, looking for UHD again. We will see if Marion can find a way to take us to game 3. Put who you think is going to win in chat. We will see you on the other side of this spectator break.
Hello and welcome back. We're here watching the Summoners pop into the Rift. UHD versus MU Game 2. Let's see who takes it home. We saw an outstanding performance by UHD, and we're going to see if they can run it back again. All right, sorry about that. Had to take a second to calibrate. Now, as we see a little bit of a spread here, when it comes to UHD's side, they're surrounding the Renekton. This could be a play if they can lock him down, but looks like they're just going to try to stop the invade. They've learned their lesson from when Kha'Zix stole the red buff last time. I don't think Marion has the confidence to make that kind of cheeky play again, even though we see Olaf heading over there. It might just be for the reset. Now, Deej,
Standards. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
What do you think about these team comps going in?
Yeah, I think the team comps are a little more focused than last time. You can see pretty normal team comp here from UHD. Two scaling picks here, one in the jungle, one in the bot lane. Looking to scale AD there. You've got pretty supportive champs in your top and support. Shields from the Karma, speeders from the Karma, the free gold from the Ornn passive there on a Takey champion, and a very safe, solid blind pick. And as you mentioned, a pretty similar style of champ here for AJ Uptown, someone who can really dish out the burst damage, does have an ability to get in and out. So do like the comp there. They'll be looking to play probably a little later game. I think there's a little more options for Marion in this early game. With that Olaf, we'll be able to gank pretty early. We'll have the stronger clear here in the early game than this Graves does, and do have good priority on this Renekton in the top lane. So hoping to see them make some moves up in the top side of the map and let this Ezreal scale with this safe Thresh pick next to him for the late game damage.
Yeah, I definitely expect UHD to be ganking early like they did last time, cementing an early lead. We see Graves now taking the blue side of Olaf. They have no vision on that, by the way, so they have no idea he's doing that. So Olaf is going to have his clear delayed. All right, we see a fight happening in the top lane. Renekton going to burst out a little bit of damage and back off. As bot lane pressure pushes Thresh and Ezreal back against the tower. Karma a little overextended, going to eat Q here. Aphelios is going to poke. All right, as we look towards the... Oh, in the jungle, we see the two junglers over here having a little bit of a scrap. A level 3 Graves is going to be able to out-damage the Olaf. He flashes over the wall to save his life. Renekton there to cover him, but there's the dash from the Graves. He had no idea the Renekton was there. Ornn is going to follow up here. Olaf really needs to back off. He's being a little bit cheeky, throwing Qs as a fight breaks out in the mid lane. We see chasing in the jungle. If they can catch up to him, Graves can dish out the damage to maybe delete one of these summoners, but they both escape. Now Olaf really on the back foot in this jungle.
Yeah, is on the back foot, but is fortunate to survive there. Andrew Smurf doing a nice job clearing very quickly, gets that level 3, has double buffs, so is able to fight that Olaf, who would normally be stronger than him, forces the flash out, but Olaf does live, so not as disastrous as it could have been here, as we see the Karma poke in the bot lane, pushing Dodge Destroyer to about a quarter of his health now, and forcing a big wave under turret.
You have to understand, though, that Graves has an entire blue side to go home to, while Olaf is looking at a barren jungle. We're going to see both of them probably contest that bot side scuttle as they head down there, and trades continue in the top lane.
Not sure that Olaf can contest. He's only level 2, so we'll have to probably take this crowd camp, go back to his chickens, which are respawning. Like you said, it will get this Graves really far ahead, but at least not giving him first blood gold as well. Will take some time for this Olaf to probably catch up. But hopefully we'll be able to find some pathing to do so.
You're absolutely correct. What we see in this bot lane is a bit of a weird kind of pressure. Aphelios usually has a weak early game, yet like we saw last game, UHD beating the odds and applying that intense pressure on the bot side. A jungler's going to be needed to relieve that as LeBlanc here goes in onto the Zilean, but can't quite make the damage happen, lands the root, and has to run away here. Oh, it looks like Zilean's going to be looking to reset.
Yeah, Runeweaver ticking over to level 5 there will give him the advantage. You see AJ Uptown now ticking over to 5, does have that corrupting potion chugging there, so he'll get some health back. And Runeweaver just looking to clear and get his reset, should be able to do that pretty safely. Oh, it's a flash in here.
Oh, there's the flash onto the Runeweaver, and that's going to be first blood here. Ooh, for UHD. The last person you want that blood to be on is AJ Uptown. He did wonders with that first blood last game. And oh wait, amazing hook onto the Thresh. Ezreal picks up a kill in the bot lane. Aphelios going a little too deep to try to get that kill. Thresh is going to lay on the auto attack damage, but needs to back off before he gets bursted down by the Aphelios. Ezreal is nowhere to be found. He's going to land the grab gun, pick up the kill, but die himself in the bot lane. A weird series of trades here, leaving the Ezreal 2-0. I'm going to have to give that a complete favor of MU. They did a great job playing on that bot side. Aphelios went far too aggressive. I don't know what he was thinking. UHD possibly overconfident?
Yeah, potentially. I don't think it was initially. Hold on. We have some action in the top lane here.
Top lane. Ornn over here deals out some good damage. Graves tried to get a gank off, but Graves' ganks just aren't strong enough to secure the kill, as both the jungler and top lane are going to reset. We see Uptown trying to press his lead here. He came back with a lost chapter, dealing some damage out, but Zilean is doing great at this disengage, as we see Karma roam up to the mid lane.
So Boss continuing that roaming he was doing in game number 1 here on that. Karma does have the boost from her shield. Yeah, as we were talking about that bot lane duel, flashing into what looked like get a Mantra Q onto the Destroyer, but I think he was throwing a hook at her in the bush to pressure her out of it, and he flashes right into the hook. I don't know how much the Destroyer knew about that hook, but does land it, pulls her in her turret, and gets the kill. And I think initially Geralden's follow-up was okay to try to burst out the Thresh, but once the heal came down from Ezreal, was going to be a little hard to take him down under that turret, and probably did get a little overzealous with the flash, and does pick up a kill for himself, but as you mentioned, gives 2 over to the Ezreal, which is really huge for his scaling.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be pretty painful to look at here. And AJ Uptown grabs a cheeky kill in the mid lane. You know, I think we're seeing a different side of MU here. They're playing much safer and they're being rewarded for it, but they still can't quite stop AJ. He's been dominating as so far this game. Karma steps up a little too far, is going to eat more damage for her trouble here that they definitely didn't need. And wait, am I seeing that right? Is that a Dark Seal on that Karma?
And hold on, it looks like he might take Destroyer down here if he can get his Q proc back up. And look at him down. Oh, doesn't quite connect on the Karma Q. Yeah, the Dark Seal on the Karma, you know, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, I feel like it's not the strongest laning phase, although definitely a little stronger than an Ezreal. That blue gun in the early game does have equivalent range with Caitlyn, who has the highest base range in the game, so can poke that Ezreal out, but Karmas are oppressive in the early game. She can stand as far as she wants because nobody has the damage to burst her out yet, despite her low health pools, and so she's been applying a lot of that pressure to this bottom lane, forcing waves in, dealing damage to the Destroyer on the Thresh. And so I think that Dark Seal is to add on to that, and also gives her a little bit more healing. Again, she is a pretty low base health champion, and if she buys pots, that makes them a little bit more effective for herself in the early game here.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, UHD not quite able to sink their teeth in as much as last time. Probably going to have to think more resourcefully here. But they were able to grab the dragon. Again, we're seeing a lack of vision start to hinder MU's ability to be aware of when these objectives are being taken. And I wonder if that's going to come back to bite them again, as the gold lead sits around 600. Not too bad here. MU can definitely work with this, and if they keep that bot lane nice and fed, they could totally win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a little bit of lack of vision and also just pressure from AJ Uptown, once again, as you mentioned, has 2 kills on this LeBlanc already, and just a tough go at things for Runeweaver. Looked like he was gonna get a decent reset at the start, but stayed around a little too long, got flashed on.
Runeweaver gets locked down, but gets out of it. LeBlanc just kind of doesn't have the damage to deal with the Zilean right now, as we see Olaf come up. That's going to be Ornn popping his ulti. He's going to get the knock up on the Renekton. Renekton might go down here. Takes a oh, but off the life steal. He lives for a second, but dies immediately afterwards. Olaf has to run away from the Graves. I'd say that's a worth trade because you're having gold split onto 2 different champions, but still, you know, would have been nicer if Renekton hadn't died, obviously.
Yeah, a little questionable there, I think, on the execution. I do think Renekton did not have to die there. I think you ult go in, get your stun there, and the Olaf should be able to take care of the rest. You know, can immune that Ornn ultimate with his ultimate. So a little unfortunate that Opti Dragon does go down there, but I think overall, a nicely worked play there from Submissive as he saw Andrew Smurf 2 kind of roam back towards mid lane on that Graves and took his opportunity.
It's definitely a massive improvement over the MU we saw last game. I mean, I wouldn't even compare them as similar teams anymore. You know, they're playing smarter. Even though he did die in the top lane, they were able to split the gold over 2 teammates. Here we go, AJ Uptown trying to get some poke in, but Zillion slowing him down and stopping him. A fight's going to break down over this Rift Herald. Renekton is moving down. Graves able to burst down the Olaf. That was absolutely dirty.
Yeah, hold
AJ
on.
Uptown comes up here. He's going to land the root on to the Zillion. Going to get knocked up here by the Warren. Oh, this is painful to say the least. Can Zillion get away? 3 chase him through the jungle here. LeBlanc jumps out onto him, has to back off. Zillion makes it alive, but burns Flash to do so.
And nicely done there to get up by Runeweaver. Times his Flash well there to get away from the LeBlanc W, but yeah, I think it's just a little unfortunate. It's a little overzealous from Submissive there. His ult wasn't up yet and decides to contest this Graves. In the pit was a level up. This Graves has Ignite, by the way. So definitely going to cut his healing there as he goes down and just bursts him out really, really fast. His team really wasn't in position. I think he just went a little too early and maybe thought he was stronger than he was and kind of gets punished for it. And lucky for him, his teammates play it pretty well and are able to, you know, stem the bleeding there on what could have been a really, really bad play.
Yeah, it could have been a very messy play. Here we go. We see a fight breaking down on the bot lane. Looks like they're going to lock down the Karma. Aphelios dishing out high damage onto the Thresh. Thresh is going to go down. Aphelios overextending a little bit. Olaf comes up to stop him. AJ Uptown is now down here. Olaf needs to back off, but he continues onward into the fray. Backs up, and it looks like no more casualties from this fight as Zillion comes around here, maybe to try to collapse. Maybe just to push him off. I don't know why Olaf is moving up that much. It's very strange.
And this is why you read champion descriptions and abilities, ladies and gentlemen. Aphelios had his 200 years guns, had the blue gun with the extra range there, and the crescendum there, the white guns that stack the extra damage. And that is the best combination for dealing out maximum DPS in fights. And Thresh decides to go in there and try to hook the Karma while Aphelios is at his strongest and pays the price with his life. But Aphelios now, without his ultimate,
Olaf is going into the gang. Olaf secures the kill, a shutdown bounty onto the Ezreal, exactly where that gold needed to go. And it looks like that's going to pay out dividends later for this game, as we see some trades happening in the top lane. I really liked that gank. It was a little bit bold-faced, and he easily could have died, but that gold going onto that Ezreal, especially with the shutdown gold, is essential. Oh, Ornn versus Renekton in the top lane. Renekton pops his ulti, so does Ornn in turn. Renekton really needs to get out of there, but Ornn lands the knockdown. Ooh, he flashes away from the Q, but AJ Uptown's there to secure the kill. And, you know, that's the danger of Uptown. You know, he roams so effectively, and he's everywhere at once. It's really hard to feel safe.
Was on a roam timer there. Runeweaver had back to pick up a couple items, was still coming back to land. He's on the Karma right now.
Okay, Thresh misses the hook here. That costs them the kill as Graves rotates down. They really need to peel out. Now, Graves has his Ignite up, which means he can stem Olaf pretty harshly here if he lands the attempt for the Olaf. This is a fight centered around this dragon, and I wonder if MU is going to try to make a play for it. It doesn't look like it as TPs hit top lane, and they back off. Both teams actually backing off. Wait a minute, Graves is going in to take the dragon. This is his second solo Drake if he actually manages to get it.
Yeah, I think this should be free for him. LeBlanc actually just went back and picked up her Luden's Echo with no completed item yet on this Zillion. I think trying to fight for this dragon would be a huge mistake for Marion. So I think they're smart to let this one go.
Yeah, it's going to slip through the fingers, but hey, they can make back for it later as an Infernal Drake comes up once again. This Infernal Drake could do wonders. With Ezreal being 3-0 right now, getting that extra damage on him definitely won't hurt, but it will hurt them if they let it fall into UHD's hands. Okay,
absolutely. They are a long way away from that Drake, but will suit them pretty well. They do have a good amount of damage threats here. Is AJ Uptown kind of looking for something here in mid lane?
You know, UHD kind of falling, not UHD, my bad, MU falling into the classic blunder of giving up too many objectives. I know they had to, but it's still painful to see them go either way. Some alright trades here in the bot lane as we enter a bit of a calm in this game as people reorient, try to farm up. Ornn is pushing top lane. Things are heating up in the bot lane, actually, with some intense trades. Aphelios definitely coming out on top as Ornn bears down on this Renekton. It's getting harder and harder for Renekton to freely maneuver in his lane and try to push up at all. Thresh ends a hook here. He's going to put up his ultimate. That's going to be the karma going down. Helios can barely do anything. More gold falling towards the Ezreal, even though Thresh picks up the kill. An invade coming from the Graves, hoping to take this blue buff. Bazillion is also there, lands the stun. Olaf looking to try to knock him down, and that's going to be a nice kill onto the Olaf. A lot of gold. I mean, I can't stress this enough. This is a different MU. This is an MU playing far safer. They're roaming more. They're maybe even copying some of Uptown's secrets to maneuvering around the map. This is fantastic. DJ, what do you have to say about this?
Oh, what I have to say to the Karma is it's not the early game anymore, is it now? Thresh lands that hook, and you have no HP on this Karma. You have not built any HP yet, and you die when you get hooked by that Thresh as a Karma. And then in that jungle, I think that's just way too aggressive from Andrew Smurf. And Submissive going to call it in chat. Buff transfer complete there as he does win the blue smite, but easily slowed by the Zillion, gets hit with the double bombs and just gets chased down by the Olaf, who takes his blue buff right back. So some nice plays coming out from here.
Trying to interrupt the clash from the top lane. Olaf fudges the gank. Well, not much you can do there as someone dashes away.
Oh yeah, good gank. They force his flash. They see Runeweaver's actually on his roam timer this time. Finds LeBlanc here in the bush.
Oh, here we go. Zillion pops ultimate. Might be a little bit premature. It might go down before he'll be able to get max support. AJ Uptown, low health. Does he? Oh, he gambles and gets it wrong. Misses the Q. This might be AJ Uptown's grand escape here. Oh, and he takes out the Zillion. Painful to see. Just so mobile, so amazing when it comes to being tactile mobile. Yeah, and he's completely gone. Thresh getting caught out in the jungle. Graves and Karma moving onto him. He's going to have to pop flash. Good flash from the Thresh and good force flash from the Graves. Olaf over here onto Graves. Can they 1v1? This time going to Olaf's favor, I'm not sure. There is no ignite on the Graves. Oh, bot lane rotating up to hopefully lock down Graves. Karma a little bit. Oh, wait, there's AJ Uptown going in. He believes he has it. He deletes the Thresh. Ooh, it's painful as Graves wipes the Thresh out.
That's just overzealous from Marion. You can't be there. LeBlanc's 4-1. She has Luden. She's the strongest character in the game right now. Without your Zillion around, I think it's a mistake to try to contest that and do get punished for it. And again, a little bit of missed execution there, I think, on the side of Submissive and on the side of Runeweaver to get killed there by AJ Uptown. You know where that LeBlanc clone is. You know where she popped from in that bush in River. And he just sticks around and just gets popped by the Q. You really got to let your Olaf try to deal with that one or just let the LeBlanc get away. But instead, lets her come back, get a kill, and still get out. So I think just a little bit of missed execution on what was originally a pretty good play from him.
Yeah, I 100%
take a
agree.
huge chunk here. Slowing her down in that river, but unfortunately it doesn't work out for him. So they will be on second Herald here.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems that MU's crux is they cannot get these objectives. Whether it's vision problems or the fact that they don't feel strong enough to contest them. I think if they dedicated enough resources to it, they can definitely lock down these objectives. But right now they're focusing on trying to take down this LeBlanc in bottom lane, but she's going to rain havoc. No ult on the Zillion. She misses the root, but still knocks him down. Olaf has to hide, run for his life to not die. To AJ Uptown, he's a menace once again on the Rift. Oh, he's going to close in and annihilate Olaf.
What are they doing? What are they doing, Skugas? They don't have a turret.
I don't understand. They're overextended.
He's 5-1-1. He has a Ludens. His cooldowns are really, really short already. I don't know what they're doing. As soon as they take those chunks, they need to leave. And they stick around with no turret to defend them. Of course he's going to take them down. Yeah. That's an easy 2-0 for him.
No vision either. They had nothing going for them. And that's going to be another dragon to UHD. MU is losing the lead they losing the footing they once had. And now it looks like it might be a washout.
Yeah, gold's still not horrible here. Still only about 3K, or yeah, just about 3K here. But so still within reach. But yeah, starting to make a couple mistakes here. And as you mentioned, their early game was going all right. Definitely down in the mid lane, but had positive things going on there. Ezreal's 3-0-1 with a lot of creep. Their Renekton had only died once, I think, before that. Their Olaf has 2 kills. There were a lot of things to look at positively. But in these last few minutes, just a few mistakes, around this Raptor pit, having the Thresh go down. And
here we go. On has to back out because he's under tower. Renekton's going to come down. Graves also to respond. Looks like everyone's going to back off and everybody's going to stay alive after that one. I mean, here's the issue. Is these slip-ups are resulting in... It's less kill differences this game as it is objective differences. MU hasn't gotten a single tower. Not a single tower, not a single dragon, not a single herald. They have dropped every single objective. They're now, just like last game, with all their exterior towers gone, they can't extend as much as they clearly like to. And now they're overextending and getting caught out over and over again. This is where Uptown thrives, and this is where UHD looks like they're going to put the death grip onto MU. MU can still definitely come back. They do have a 3-0 Ezreal, but they also have an 0-4 Zilean and an 0-2 Renekton weighing down. It's going to be tough. It's an uphill battle, but I believe in them. What about you, DJ?
It is an uphill battle. Definitely right about the objectives, and this is sort of LeBlanc territory where she should be able to, sneak into these jungles where there should be vision gaps because of those turrets being down. It is still manageable. This Ezreal can clear waves pretty infinitely under this turret, I would say. And despite the Zilean being 0-4-1, is a supportive mid laner. He's building the slow build. As Ezreal getting attacked here by Solo.
Oh my goodness gracious. Thankfully, no deaths arise for MU. I mean, it's difficult here. Wait a minute. As AJ Uptown goes in, Renekton able to dash away. They drop the Herald mid. They're looking to make some pressure and make an opening. Baron is up. If they push hard enough with his Rift Herald, they'll create the pressure they need to go grab a Baron. And that'll make MU lose another objective. Looks like the team is starting to clump here. This could be our first team fight of the game. It looks like they're going to back off, but wait a minute. On the side of the jungle, Graves and Ornn could be caught out on the side. If MU decides to pull the trigger, Graves flubs the blast cone, but MU not confident enough to engage, and I think that's a good thing. I don't think they can win this fight outright. I think they're going to have to make a pick and then move in for the 5v4.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think you want to see the Renekton on the side lane here. It does have his board complete. Not stronger than this Ornn, but can potentially pressure him if he plays it well. I do think going to Baron right now would be pretty int from the side of UHD. I think that's really one of the only ways that Marion gets a team fight that they really want, with that Baron, shredding their resistances and their armor and doing some damage before the fight. Like you said, I think UHD is ahead right now, not wildly ahead. And so sort of making a decision like that, I think, would be a little aggressive at this point in the game when they can make some safer plays here.
Play around he could actually burst down Uptown. Uptown tries to get away, but he can't escape the Renekton dot. This could be Uptown's death shutdown goal.
Got her. Absolutely.
Very nice play there. But I think UHD is getting them by death by a million cuts. Every kill they lose is almost followed by an objective they lose. It's slow, it's incremental, but it's definitely becoming devastating. And as you see UHD's lead build up more and more, you wonder how MU can recover. Renekton did make a great play in the bot lane, locking down and killing the LeBlanc. That shutdown gold is huge for him, but Renekton is not a late game champion. It would have been much more beneficial if that gold could have gone on to another member. I know it couldn't have, but it would have been very nice to see, and possibly something that could bring them back online fully for this game.
I think it's just a nice play from Octadragon, and Renekton definitely not a traditional team fighting late game champion, but if played well, could be a pressure on a side lane. You look at this composition from UHD, and you would think AJ Uptown is the natural one to try to match a Renekton if he gets the full items. Ornn can probably absorb his pressure, but probably can't kill him outright, depending on itemization. And you saw, Octadragon can still chunk out AJ Uptown, pretty much taking him down solo there very quickly. So definitely still a little bit of a threat here. And again, this Ezreal still 3-0-1, 195 CS. Has 2 items spike now with his more mana upgraded. So some positive things, and they're posturing around this potential sold point Drake for UHD. So finally,
Olaf gets caught out a little bit by Ornn, but they don't dedicate to it. I don't know what they're afraid of. Renekton just now joining into the fray. This could be a big, massive team fight for the soul, but wait, they proc Drake. Uptown is alone and bursts down Olaf. Now it is a 4v5. They have to back off and respect.
Oh no, and they just separate. I'm not exactly sure why. May have been baited by a ward here. So hold on here. Ezreal's putting out a lot of damage.
It's putting out a lot of damage, but it looks like it. Wait, could it be worth it here? The damage suffices. Amelia gets knocked down. Renekton burst onto him. Renekton is 2-1v2ing right now. This is absolutely insane. Can he lock down the Graves? AJ Uptown escapes, wants to go back in, tries to get the Renekton kill. Ornn and AJ Uptown are chasing. Oh, wait, he's going to get popped, but the dragon goes to MU. Renekton able to run a fantastic peel for his entire team, and the soul is not going to UHD, which is fantastic for MU. That was a smart strategic int, as they call it in the business.
It wasn't even an int. Optidragon's a hero right now. He is just tanking everything in that team fight. I mean, goes in, gets a Q onto 3 people, refills half of his health bar, and he nearly takes down Uptown, nearly takes down Smurf on his own. Also, good play from Hide on Bush Light to poke them out before that fight. They're able to take down Girlim's Aphelios and force them off of that Drake. And yeah, they delay Soul Point, which is exactly what you would want to see here. So while it's not absolutely perfect for them, they get the objective they really needed to, and they get a kill, and they get out mostly unscathed. So pretty well done there by Marion, and Optidragon doing his best to keep his team in this match.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Optidragon has rose up to become, Optidragon and Ezreal have become what this team needs to succeed. They're doing fantastic jobs at applying pressure. They're essential pretty much to every fight. And I think if they play around these two leading players, they could win these fights a little more consistently. Hold on, though. LeBlanc engaging. All right, she backs off. It looks like UHD is getting ready to set up for Baron, having Ornn split push in the side lanes. Renekton trying to push him off there. They're going to push out mid to try to get more pressure. Uptown going to go in, do some burst damage, and dip out. Ezreal almost dead, hanging on at a cling of life. He manages to get away. Yep, it looks like they are looking to get that Baron. Ornn got to run away here before Optidragon locks him down. Ducky needs to make a maneuver fast. He pops his ultimate, but so does Renekton in turn. He lands the knockup. That's substantial damage. He's low on mana, however. Renekton looks like he might be able to win this. Ducky dashes away, and now we're looking at the Baron fight. Optidragon chasing him down. Uptown doing what he does best, going in and out, bobbing and weaving, dishing out damage. Ornn's going to get away. No deaths on either side of the rift here, as we look like MU has successfully scared them off of Baron. Wait a minute, these pings are indicating they want to go back in as Ezreal pushes mid tower.
They're kind of wasting a lot of time here. They're giving up their mid tower for free here and weren't quick enough on that Baron call. I was initially a little hesitant to see Optidragon opt into the all-in there with the Ornn, because wasting his ultimate would require him to recall and then potentially teleport to Baron, but they force them off, and they kind of stall for a while there, does UHD, and almost take this mid-tier 1 turret down, and I think that's a pretty good stall there from Marion overall, and I think they've got to be pretty happy with that.
Oh, wait, here we go. LeBlanc missing her abilities, can't quite lock him down. Looks like she's going to disengage. But wait a minute, Karma and Aphelios coming up to collapse onto the Olaf. This is going to be painful. Zilean comes up to try to play some defense. Renekton slowly behind them as they back off. You're absolutely right. UHD is wasting time. They have a substantial lead, and it's only closing the more they let MU basically AFK farm. They're not applying any pressure. Wait a minute, they could be here with a team fight, but they might just back off again like they've done again and again. They're hesitant to pull this trigger. I think UHD doesn't go in until they're 100% certain they can win the fight. And because of how MU is comping, I don't think they're certain of anything right now. You saw them try to take Baron twice, back off both times, even though it was a 4v5. It is messy on UHD side, and I think we see UHD slipping. They could lose their lead here, and MU could pressure on and push on and win this game.
I do think there have been a couple of macro mistakes here, though. I think UHD pretty comfortable in the fact that they do have this Ornn, who has now upgraded Aphelios' item into a Molten Edge, has 2 upgraded items himself, so we'll be confident in their own scaling and because of that being a little safer in their calls, but given Marion an opportunity to stop some of this bleeding, and they'll be feeling pretty good about where they are as well. Only down here about 4K gold, which not an insurmountable lead at all, but this Renekton in a pretty tough position here right now. Might be able to get out.
Oh, hey, what a mad lad. Absolutely gets to land the back. He absolutely gets to go back and reset. That was some scary stuff right there. And it looks like UHD is foaming at the mouth trying to get this dragon. I've seen a lot of sweepers in my day, but that is some clean vision.
That should be a little bit of your time, my time here to play some clear vision here, as the Drake coming up in just 30 seconds will be soul point for UHD. So we'll see something similar to what played out probably last time. Hopefully this time Marion can not have their jungler burst out right at the start of the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to take in mind, Marion and UHD have kind of equivalent poke here. I'd say, of course, UHD has a bit of the advantage, but the way the Zillion has been maneuvering and positioning his bombs has negated any hard engage. They tried to make it past fights. They're waiting for somebody to slip up, somebody to make a mistake so they can go in on this. This Scuttle Crab also going to be very important. He smites the Scuttle. Did he really smite the Scuttle? Okay. Okay, all right.
Looks like Smite still up for both junglers here.
It's going to be a contentious. Here we go. Thresh tries to make the hook. AJ Uptown doing his poke. That's going to be the ult off of the Ornn. It looks like they're going to hard engage. Ultimate popping left and right. Opti Dragon gets bursted down. It is now a 4v5 here. UHD looking to push down. They can't really return the damage. Thresh at low HP. Karma even lower. Ezreal trying to make the poke and he deletes the Karma. It is now a 4v4 here as Ezreal maneuvers around. They start the Drake. Red team gets the Drake. That's going to be sold. That boosted damage is going to be huge in this fight as Olaf goes down in the Dragon Pit. This is a massive blunder on MU.
AJ Uptown!
AJ Uptown going in against and he destroys it. That's the ace for AJ Uptown. Oh, that is rough for MU. Oh, that is rough.
Yeah, and it's a valiant effort, but AJ Uptown ends up smurfing the fight here, playing off his cooldowns very well. And pretty well done by Marion overall, but Submissive loses the smite fight, takes the Zillion ult, and once AJ Uptown sees that Zillion ult onto the Olaf, she knows that Ezreal has lost a big part of his protection, goes in with the double distortion, and is able to pop him, and once the Ezreal's down, it's just cleanup for AJ Uptown. Nobody else can do the damage required to take him out. He cleans up with a triple kill. They take the Soul, and they take the Baron, and they will reset to look for the final push.
Without Renekton, it is very difficult for MU to try to do anything to this LeBlanc. And as you saw, Opti Dragon got sucked in deep into the fray while his team backed out. So he had to absorb all of that damage on his own. Then it became a 5v4. Ezreal playing cleverly was able to knock it back to a 4v4. But at that point, without Renekton, MU stands no chance of an all-out team fight with UHD.
Yeah, a little bit of effect itemization coming in here from the Ezreal as he's bought a Hex Drinker. I think that might be a little late. LeBlanc already has LeBlanc already has the Void Staff there, so
also 25 stacks on Magi's.
That's not good.
Yeah, that's not good. That's the last thing you want to see. All right, as we see them pushing out Laves and then kind of resetting here, I'm surprised they're not trying to siege with Baron and Infernal buff at the same time. It seems like prime time to be pushing down mid lane, but they're pulling back. Again, UHD hesitant to pull the final trigger. They were showing signs of this earlier, but they're collapsing on the Olaf in the bot lane. That's going to be a easy 1-2 punch knockout for AJ Uptown.
This just can't be there. He's there alone clearing. He's a melee champion. You haven't seen LeBlanc in the last seconds or so. She can easily be there dashing over walls, and she could have killed him solo, let alone having Graves there as well. And I just think that's just poor positioning there from Submissive overall.
Yeah, I 100% agree. MU falling back into their old bad habits, overextending slightly, giving up objective control. It looks like they're trying to make some kind of move here, but Thresh can't make the hook stick. And wait a minute, AJ Uptown going back in. A quick Zillion ult saves his life as the tower falls on bot side. Okay, here we go. We see Graves going in a little bit deep here. Renekton locks him down. AJ Uptown are now engaging with the rest of the team. They're focusing on getting the inhib as MU backs off. This could be the end of MU. And then game 2 for UHD. AJ Uptown bursts down as the Ornn ult actually secures that kill. Ornn goes down 2 to the Aphelios. Wait a minute, he lives, but AJ Uptown goes in the kill, but sacrifices himself to the south. We're seeing member after member of MU fall, but we're also seeing UHD get way overzealous and lose 2 critical members, the Aphelios and the LeBlanc now down. Maybe this is enough to have this Thresh, Zillion, and Renekton lock it down. Thresh looks like he might go down, but it is Opti Dragon that's going to be defending this tower. This could be a valiant effort, but he's trying too hard on the Graves, and he dies. His tower range a little too much. We see Zillion 1v1ing the Karma as wait a minute. Oh, wow, that was a nice cook by the Thresh, and Thresh actually shuts Graves down as Zillion is continuing to 1v1 the Karma for no reason without mana.
Not going to be enough.
You're absolutely right. It doesn't look like it's enough. And that's going to be game 2 most likely. to UHD. The minions are going to end it off. That is game 2 to UHD.
Valiant effort here by Marion at the end of the game, but ultimately AJ Uptown just too strong. And yeah, they do into 2 members into the fountain there, but in the end, just a little bit too far ahead after taking Soul and Baron. UHD is able to end the game much, much closer in game 2 here. Marion put together a pretty decent game. Just a couple mistakes and maybe a little bit too far behind in mid lane, but got pretty close around a couple of these fights. And, with a couple of cleanups on some mistakes, probably could have been right in this game and potentially could have turned it.
Yeah, absolutely. If we saw this game 2 Marion playing against in game 1, probably would have been, it might have even been a whole different story. They clearly were making less mistakes. They were more on their game. Their trades were more equitable for them. I mean, they were doing a great job, but just those tiny mistakes, death by 1,000 cuts, losing a kill here and there, and then an objective, and then now your towers, and now they're pushing on you, and they have Baron, and it just slowly slipped out of their hands. GG to both teams. It was a great match of League. Good job to UHD. Great job to Marion.
And that will do it. That will wrap up here our best of 3 series between UHD Gators and Marion Esports. We thank you again for joining us here at GG Leagues on this wonderful Thursday night. And I believe hopefully we will see you at our next cast. Not sure if we have a casters versus players tomorrow, but pay attention to look into the Twitter or any of our social media pages to see if that is on for tomorrow night. I'm again DJ. This has been Scoogus Malugas here with me tonight. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.